Jack and Dexter are like Howard and Kreese, except they actually go on adventures together. They have an interesting relationship, mainly due to how much the two develop over the course of their games. Jack at the beginning was silent, bold, and took action, which perfectly contrasted Dexter's loudmouthed antics and bark-over-bite personality. Dexter contributed little other than providing snarky commentary and being the driving force of the plot, being to get him back to normal.
But then comes Game 2, where Jack gains a very dark and violent personality due to experiments. They still managed to be different from each other. Whereas Jack became very aggressive and serious, Dexter still remained the laid-back jokester. No matter what the situation, Dexter was the comic relief, but was still on a different corner of the personality spectrum as Jack. That being said, they still shared a love of adventure, exploding things, and weapons, and are completely inseparable. When Jack was captured by Bear in Praxis, Dexter spent 2 years running from job to job, relentlessly trying to find his friend.
Once Jack was banished to the Wastelands in the third game, which was basically a thinly veiled death sentence, Dexter followed him, knowing full well that he'd probably die too. I mean, sure, he complained about it later, but we know what he really felt. While Dexter rarely does anything in terms of practical application, you have to wonder if Dexter is the only thing keeping Jack from completely losing himself to the Dark Eco corruption.
Don't touch it. Dark Eco.
Yeah, you're impressed now, aren't you? Man, give us preps.
Still, if there's one thing that really bothered us in their relationship, is that sometimes Jack could forget that Dexter is his friend and not his pet. Like towards the beginning of Jak 3, where Jack is given the choice to bet Dexter's life on a desert buggy.
Forget it, buddy. Jack would never done.
Oh, nice. That speaks a lot about how you view the life of your once human friend as equal to a desert buggy. You're a great pal. Did the Browns just have a stupid day or something?
I suppose it doesn't matter too much, as there are plenty of great moments with these two that make up for it. If Jack is going anywhere, you can expect Dexter to be there on his shoulder, complaining, joking, and screaming the entire way.
Whoa, got it. Where would you be without me, eh, Dax?
Well, Jack, I probably wouldn't be 2 feet tall, fuzzy, and running around in a sewer without a pair of pants. God, I miss pants.
And your romance with Tess wouldn't be as creepy.
In a game like Team Fortress 2, where all the characters are complete murderous psychopaths and take every opportunity to be as malicious to the other as possible, it's odd that you find a strong yet subtle bromance between the Heavy and Medic. It's been implied through some spoken lines that Heavy and Medic have a deeper relationship with each other than other members of the team. Neither of the two classes have domination lines for each other, implying that even on opposite sides they don't hate each other. It's subtle, but some lines are given extra emphasis when the other class is mentioned.
Get behind me, Doctor!
Heavy is dead!
I love this Doctor!
Okay, maybe not that deep, but still.
But the real kicker comes from the gameplay. Unlike most others on this list, these two are designed to play to each other's strengths and cover each other's weaknesses. It's not uncommon in Team Fortress 2 to see a Medic and Heavy close together. The Heavy deals a lot of damage and has a ton of health, providing a nice big meat shield for the Medic to hide behind, and can give his sandwich to the Medic if he needs it. The Medic's healing ability allows him to give a steady stream of protection to the Heavy, making the Heavy very hard to kill. He's also there to keep an eye out for spies that try to backstab the Heavy, so they protect each other in many different ways. If you have a good pair, you can't do much to counter them as they have almost no weaknesses. It's very hard to stop an ubercharged Heavy once he's right next to you.
It also speaks a lot about the relationship that Heavy trusts Medic enough to be experimented on. Let me repeat that. The Heavy, an individual intelligent enough to have a college degree in Russian literature, trusts the crazy Nazi scientist to perform untested and dangerous experiments on his body. Conscious. If that isn't the sign of a strong friendship, then I don't know what is.
Doctor! Are you sure this will work?
I have no idea!
If this quote will become an overused meme! Here we are, the longest running bromance of all time. That's right, it's Sonic and Tails. And how could we not put them so high? Ever since Tails' introduction, he's been by Sonic every step of the way, giving him advice on how to deal with a cataclysmic situation, getting Sonic as close to his targets as possible via constructing complicated machinery, actually getting in the fray and helping him take down Robotnik, and just being a good friend whenever he could.
During the earlier adventures, Tails acted more as Sonic's #1 fan, idolising the Blue Hedgehog and striving to replicate his courage and confidence. In this period, Tails always served as Sonic's sidekick, and Tails was content with that as he was happy to just hang out with Sonic, while trying to impress him at the same time. Whenever Sonic had an adventure to explore, he always comes to Tails and asks him to come along, and Tails is always ready to help, most of the time being there to spew technobabble or build a new vehicle.
Hey, either way it moves the plot forward. They bring out the best in each other a lot of ways. Sonic's there to boost Tails' confidences as Tails hates feeling useless or being ignored. Tails takes it very personally when someone dismisses his mechanical skills, so he's glad Sonic actually respects his technical knowledge. It's even shown that Sonic trains Tails to learn how to run and fight in their free time. That being said, Sonic's tendency to be a bit of a headstrong idiot means Tails usually has to keep Sonic focused on the task at hand and explain complex phenomena and technobabble slowly.
What's really interesting is how their relationship develops. Sonic still has his trademark cockiness and love for adventure, but steady interaction with Tails seems to have made him just a little bit more humble around his friends and more willing to listen. Lately, Tails has been less tolerant of Sonic's attention hogging. Maybe that's because he seems to have picked up a few of Sonic's mannerisms over the years, and seems to have gained a sarcastic side too.
We did it, dude!
We? I don't remember you fighting off any insane robots.
True. Well, good job to you on inventing a translator that allowed us to speak to the aliens and figure out exactly what we needed to do so we weren't running around the park looking like idiots. Oh no, wait. That was me.
Good point.
As Tails grew as a person and became more independent, he still remained as loyal and close to Sonic as ever as his sidekick, and still looks up to him. But his esteem about Sonic's heroics have dwindled, as he these days cares more about inventing than Sonic's heroic deeds. That being said, they both seem to have a strong sense of justice and take the safety of the world very seriously.
It's another example of two characters being near opposites and completing each other. You got the behind-the-scenes mechanic who's happy to just lend a hand to someone he looks up to, and the attention-mongering action dude who just wants to have a good time with a friend he respects.
Okay, seriously? We need to find Eggman and figure out how catching these aliens fits into whatever heinous plan he's hatching.
And wreck that plan, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much how we spend our time.
Going to say it now, Roger Craig Smith is the best Sonic. He's self-aware. To not have a heart and to be devoid of emotions is an interesting concept. To have a bromance between two individuals who didn't is an even more interesting concept. And this is explored very well in the relationship between Axel and Roxas.
Roxas is a recently born nobody, that is, the empty shell left behind when a body loses its heart, and he joins an organization made up of 12 other nobodies. Still trying to get used to life and having no memories of being Sora, other members quickly lose their patience with his zombie-like demeanor and general obliviousness. Other than Axel, who was the only one willing to cut him some slack while training him, or whenever they went on missions together. Because of that, it almost seems like Roxas imprints on Axel.
Friends eat ice cream together and talk and laugh about the stupidest things.
After each mission, Axel and Roxas would always hang out and talk at the Twilight Town clock tower, watching the sunset while eating a stick of sea salt ice cream.
Salty ice cream? That sounds revolting.
Actually, that's not too bad. Anyways, even after Axel was sent away and Roxas thought he died, when Axel came back, what's the first thing they do? Buy ice cream and shoot the shit. For all the times Kingdom Hearts likes to spew the words heart and darkness every other sentence and shove friendship morals down your throat that only middle school kids would find thought-provoking, it's refreshing to see two characters just talk. In fact, a lot of times those are the best parts of the story. Axel and Roxas moved away from mentor and mentee and slowly changed into big brother and little brother.
And let's not forget the little sister Shion who happened to drop in. For a long time, these three were always seen together. But of course, the plot keeps interrupting, trying its best to separate them wherever possible, whether it be from duty, stress, or accident. They always come back together in the end. However, a rift starts forming in between them, caused by secrets kept from them by the organisation and Axel. And once Shion up and disappears, they are forbidden to look for her. Axel is constantly on edge between doing what the organisation tells him to do and just trying to keep his friendships intact. He eventually decides on trying to find subtle ways to defy the organisation, when all he's really doing is ticking both sides off. Roxas eventually gets fed up with being lied to and manipulated and goes rogue.
No one would miss me.
That's not true. I would.
Then Roxas tragically gets his memory wiped, remembering nothing from his time in the organization. Axel, in turn, tries everything to get him back. His efforts continuously proved fruitless, slowly driving Axel over the edge. Once he felt that Roxas was unsalvageable, Axel goes emotionally berserk and tries to end Roxas, but he fails and Roxas merges with Sora. Needless to say, Axel was not happy. Now desperate, Axel betrays his organization's interests and does everything he can to get his best friend back, including kidnapping Sora's girlfriend to try and trick Sora into recreating the circumstances that got Roxas created in the first place, aka turning Sora into a Heartless, aka killing Sora to get Roxas back. In the end, he ultimately can't go through with it, and instead opts to help Sora out by sacrificing himself for him. It's also strongly implied that after Axel's tragic sacrifice, it awoke Roxas from deep within Sora, causing him to attack Sora out of rage. Sadly, Axel eventually fades out of existence in the story along with Roxas, and the relationship was never able to continue.
Out of all the bromances on this list, this one is probably the most tragic. You had two entities who basically gave each other's lives purpose and drive, forcibly ripped apart by people trying to use them as tools. And due to the fact that these two lacked emotions to begin with, it's a tough relationship to comprehend. Half the time, I don't even think they really understood it either. All we know is that they depended on each other to make them both happy. And really, what else do you need?
Axel, what were you trying to do?
I wanted to see Roxas. He was the only one I liked. He made me feel like I had a heart.
Sucks. Moving on. Here it is, the best bromance, the one that has stood the test of time between wars, disease, and freakishly fast aging. Ladies and gentlemen, Solid Snake and Hal Otakon Emmerich from Metal Gear Solid.
Again, it's another action person paired with a nerd behind the scenes. But this one is probably the deepest and played the most seriously.
Oh, wait! We're on PlayStation 3! It's a Blu-ray disc.
Okay, most of the time it was played seriously. In any case, in gameplay, Otakon helps Snake out in many ways. Otakon supplies Snake with some helpful tools that no one else has, including camouflage tech, and offers technical advice when dealing with machinery, either via codec calls or tiny robots which Snake has to open doors for. He sometimes directly provides Snake with means of escape and opening routes.
But gameplay isn't where these two truly shine. These two have gone quite the distance for each other, including raising a child together. Yeah, this girl views both Snake and Hal as parents. That says a lot. Whenever Snake goes into a mission, you can expect Otakon to be there helping in any way he can. He's been there since the beginning, and he was there at the end. Even as Snake lived out his final days, Otakon was there every step, making sure Snake was content.
Snake has slowly grown to depend on others' advice and instruction to accomplish his mission, especially from Otakon. During missions, they manage to have some interesting conversations. The subjects range from silly banter, to commenting on mission details, to even extensively talking about very personal topics like the meaning of love. In fact, they have made several remarks about how the other taught them how to love.
They also have things that only close friends would have, like their own handshake, and even there's the running line, "I know Snake better than anyone else," which is half the time used as a sexual innuendo. Yeah, not gonna lie, there are a ton of scenes that can be interpreted as homoerotic. Cuddling in the snow, the crap ton of double entendres thrown at each other, and it also doesn't help that David Hayter, aka the voice of Snake, made this joke about their relationship.
And that's where a lot of the joking comes in, because Otakon's like Snake's gay sidekick, you know, in a platonic way. Everybody relax.
And that's the thing about bromances. You would think there'd be something more between them, but these two manage to just be friends. They are as committed to each other as a married couple, yet seem to not harbour any romantic feelings for the other. They depend on each other, they make each other happy when they aren't feeling great, and trust each other with such deep personal feelings. The things they are willing to do for each other rivals that of an actual couple. And for that reason, we can't see any other bromantic relationship on the #1 slot.
What am I fighting for? What are you fighting for?
If we make it through this, I'll tell you.
I'm rabbidluigi.
I'm the Fiery Joker.
And Snake plus Otakon is our OTP.
Oh, come on!
Cut!